Strategic Connection is thrilled to celebrate National Small Business Day. Today, we have the pleasure of sitting down with Marc Sames, Chief of Staff of Procurated. Thank you so much for coming. So, what is Procurated?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So, Procurated is on the quest to become America's most trusted marketplace. We have our roots in being a ratings and review platform, specifically for government procurement or public procurement. So, if you think about your state, your communities, your towns, or cities, they'll need to constantly buy something. And we're on a quest to really build the most trusted marketplace behind that connects both our government buyers with the suppliers or vendors that want to work with them.
So, what's the story behind the business? How did it get started?
So our business started about 5 years ago is when we kicked off. However, the story is one that's much longer and actually spans almost 2 decades. Our founder and CEO, David Yarkin, was the Chief Procurement Officer for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And in that role was responsible for the purchase of goods and the contracting of goods for the Commonwealth. And about 6 years ago, he was in Philadelphia and was trying to find what is the best Philly cheesesteak I can get. He opens Yelp and he figures out I should go to this restaurant and this is the best one that I can get. That was, however, not possible from a government contracting perspective. And the way that government contracting works, suppliers submit references, normally about 3, and we've always said that they're quite cherry-picked. Now, when you and I submit references, we're only going to submit a reference about someone who can say nice things about us. Suppliers were doing the same thing, and that just creates risk for a public procurement official, or it leads in the end result of citizens like us not having the goods or services that we need every day.
That's a great need.
Yes.
So he saw the need and he filled that gap also.
Yes.
What are some of the biggest challenges you faced when starting your business, and how did the company overcome them?
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of challenges being a brand new startup, and we're really working to change an industry that there hasn't been a lot of innovation in. With that, this is also an industry that is generally very risk adverse as a result of what vetting a supplier requires. So our biggest challenge was actually building trust. Building trust that if we're going to get ratings and reviews on how a supplier is performing, so you would know whether or not I should buy with this person or not, or I should select this vendor or not, was a really big challenge for us. The way we overcame that is we actually partnered directly with our public procurement partners. Our first partner, probably to no one's surprise, was the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, since that's where we had a bunch of relationships. And we, at least in our first 3 years, have given away our product for free to our government users to really help build that trust so that they can understand that this is a platform that is only specifically for users like me. We do a verification process that every person leaving a review does actually work in a public procurement role. And then by connecting with the government, now the government's helping us communicate that. And what we're actually doing over the past year now is we're building tools for them to do all of that communication and the review requesting themselves, sort of removing ourselves from being the middleman. We still have a lot of work to do in that, but that's a little of how we're starting to overcome that challenge.
What advice would you give someone who is thinking of starting their own business?
I think 2 bits. The first is always listen to your customer. It's it's the basis of Procurated, is being able to listen to your customer and to provide feedback to build that trust. But it was the same was true for us. We needed to listen to our customer when they said, this is a phenomenal tool. It's nice to have, but I can't actually put it in my process. So we had to pivot to something that they could then actually put in their process that works in the rigorous structure of public procurement. So always listen to your customer. And then the other is constantly experiment and constantly innovate. We will run several experiments every month to see, can we get more growth this way, more adoption this way? And sometimes you even want to run the same experiment a few years apart because the market changes and your brand changes and the perception of your brand changes. So just because it didn't work once, make sure to try it again. Don't try it 5 times because then you're just continuously proving something that doesn't work. And make sure you're setting up those experiments so you can actually give yourself success in them. make sure they're measurable, that there's an amount of time dedicated to them, but always innovate and never stay stagnant.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you taking out the time. I know you're a busy man, Marc, but happy National Small Business Day.
Thank you so much for having us.